have had some trouble getting your husband on board with oils. A lot of us, when we first started using oils, they would call them our snake oils, or, how much money are you spending on those oils? They didn't understand their value at the time. And so it can seem expensive if you don't understand their value. And some of the guys are probably never going to totally understand the value because they don't do the research like we do. They don't study it. They don't, know the background of how they work. And so for them, they need to see it, right? They need to see results. Sometimes oils in the bedroom can actually be quite a game changer for guys. That's a good way to introduce them to their value. I mean, imagine it. You mix the physical power of essential oils with the emotional side of a night of steamy romance with your husband, with the whole room just filled with the aroma of ylang-ylang or sensation. And you're going to be amazed by how totally on board he becomes pretty quickly. In fact, the next day you might find a new stash of oils right there on your porch, right? FedEx, oh, somebody overnighted these. You're welcome. So a few years ago, when I came across this verse, it made me think of the natural perfumes that we make when we make essential oils, our perfuming classes and stuff, and the way that essential oils complement our own body chemistry instead of covering it up. So like synthetic perfumes, it really covers up. I mean, you're going to mix in some body chemistry even with that, but it's going to have a really harsh smell because of the chemicals and the solvents and the extenders that they put in there. I don't know if you know about it, but a lot of all of the perfumes actually on the market today, they used to be made more with essential oils, but now all of the perfumes on the market have chemical extenders in it. That's why it still smells on your clothes, weeks, months, years later. I have some things that was handed down from my grandmother who died 7 or 8 years ago. And she gave me these beautiful bottles and they had cheap perfume in it. And one of them leaked all over the place. And so my attic closet still reeks of cheap perfume. With essential oils, it mixes with your own body chemistry naturally, and it creates a signature perfume automatically that's always going to smell like you, and it's always going to have a natural, enticing smell. It won't have that harsh chemical smell. And it's a perfume because it's mixed in with your body chemistry. It's going to drive them crazy. It's just such an amazing way of perfuming, especially when you consider your limbic system. But from the Song of Solomon, how much better than wine is your love and the scent of your perfume. And of course, we know what that's talking about. I thought that was an interesting verse. A woman asked Coco Chanel the question, where should one use perfume? Have you ever heard that question? Where do I put this? Where do I put this oil? Coco answered, wherever one wants to be kissed. Now, if we're talking about a synthetic perfume, that could be a totally different ballgame. It's like, no. But with essential oils, that can be a very interesting conversation. And we're going to talk about that in a few. Because as we all know, essential oils don't just smell good. They were created by God for a purpose. So let's talk about quality for a second. Before we discuss ways to use essential oils in this class, we need to clarify something. Not all essential oils are created equal. We only recommend Young Living essential oils because they're the only oils on the market that we trust, especially when we're talking about using them internally or using them on our bodies or on sensitive areas or on our children. So for fun, let's categorize the oils on the market into 3 categories: food grade, perfume grade, and premium. So food grade, I kind of call those the fast food oils, right? They're just, they're still low quality oils, but they're produced for the food industry. So although they're probably going to have traces of pesticides or fertilizers or whatever filler oils in them, they're still going to they're going to have the taste or the smell of the oil. You see what they put in our foods, so you know what's probably in the oils, and it's still passing for food quality because it has an actual plant matter in it. But a lot of that is still very adulterated. Then we have perfume grade, and this level of essential oil is probably the most common and the most dangerous. These are the oils that are produced for the cosmetic industry. So that's going to be your perfumes and your body lotions and probably your laundry soaps and things like that. But even when just applied to the skin and not ingested, these can be highly toxic, and some have cancer risks as well. Now, it makes sense that these companies would do this, especially when you think about the fact that they're selling to a culture that totally uses toxic fragrances all the time. So they don't really care about how pure it is or if it works or not, all those kinds of things. They're just want it to smell good. And so to them, when they're comparing it to all that, it does smell good. Think about that. Think about all the name brand sprays and perfumes and candles and all that kind of stuff that are on the market. Some of those may have some essential oils in them, along with all of the toxic chemicals. Then let's talk about a pure essential oil, Young Living essential oils. Young Living's different. And I've said this for years, that Young Living is the only brand that I trust enough to use on my children or to dare to take internally. And you have to be careful with what you put on your skin and what you inhale too. It all goes into your bloodstream. I remember getting I used to carry it around. I mean, I used to use it in classes and stuff. There was a bottle of one of the brands, and it actually had a warning on the back of it that said, it's warned you about taking it internally. And then it also warned you, it said it could cause severe lung damage. And I'm like, well, what are you supposed to do with it? They're giving you an oil that you can't use. It didn't make any sense. I guess they were just trying to cover themselves, but whatever. Like, I'm going to use that. But either way, even if it's something that you're using it on your skin and you say, oh, well, I don't want to take it internally, but I'll just apply it because it's like a perfume. It's all going into your bloodstream and it's affecting everything. It's affecting your hormones. It's causing risks, depending on what chemicals are in it. And a lot of them, again, most of the oils on the market contain traces of solvents and other things. So you have to be really, really careful. I trust Young Living oils because I've been to their farms. Many of us here have. I've watched the farming and the distillation process, and I know how absolutely obsessive Gary Young was over quality, and his family and his team is carrying on that legacy. And I'm not just talking about purity, but also efficacy, overall quality. We could go into all kinds of things there, but we don't have a whole ton of time. But if you want to look more into that, go to seedtoseal.com and check that out. So it's often been said that women need time to prepare for intimacy while men can go from 0 to 60 in a minute. Guys don't need the prep that we need. Typically, they're pretty ready all the time. So it's important for us as women to be proactive and start getting in the mood early. Sometimes we spend a lot more time on dinner or on kids' activities or whatever than we do for prepping for, a hot date night with our husband, right? We want to make sure that they feel special, that we're, taking that time for them. We do this and then we wonder why we're having peanut butter and jelly in bed instead of a steaming hunk of filet mignon, right? There's a difference in how we treat it. If you want something sizzling and juicy, plan for it. Marinate ahead of time. You're not going to be sorry. So let's talk about a few ideas. You can prepare your bedroom. I always tell ladies, treat it as a secret, sacred sanctuary. If you can, get rid of technology. Make sure that, it feels like a healthier atmosphere and there's no distractions like televisions. And please don't put your television in your bedroom. That is not a healthy place for the TV. You're going to have noise and you're not going to get good sleep if you have that on right before bed. So many reasons not to have technology in your room, specifically television. If your sheets are old, consider splurging on some really, fresh, pretty comfortable sheets. You can scent your linens with DIY pillow sprays and just we have tons of recipes for that kind of thing. Spray it all down. Maybe a silk pillowcase. When somebody asks you what you want for Christmas or a birthday, tell them you want silk pillowcases. That's a fun thing to get. And they're not super expensive. You can find them on Amazon for decent prices. You can use electric candles. I always use electric candles because it gives me the ambiance. And then I use my diffuser for the scent. I used to be one of those candle fanatics, and I poisoned all my friends when they came over. It's like, that was my thing. I had candles everywhere. Now I use electric candles because I still adore that ambiance. You can also use stringed lights, like those fairy lights. That makes a really fun atmosphere as well, as far as the lighting. And then you have your diffuser going. You can use one of our gorgeous diffusers that flickers a light, so that gives even more. Don't use candles that have a scent, because then you're mixing in all the toxic stuff and you're defeating the purpose. Even if you have little ones still at home, try to prepare a little. Every time may not be a filet mignon night, but every time can be special. And each season of life is going to look a little bit different. So awakening love is a real thing. It's the stirring of those hormones and emotions that work together. And that's what helps us connect in a healthy way. That's what, that's part of the purpose of hormones. That's where we get a lot of bonding from. That's why when you're nursing a baby, and you're looking into each other's eyes and you smell the scent of the baby and baby's looking up at you and all those hormones kick in. That helps with the bonding process. The same thing happens in relationships. That's why during an orgasm, there are a lot of hormones that are released that actually cause you to bond emotionally. So there's a lot of really interesting things that go on. God has made us in we're fearfully and wonderfully made. And so he's made us in ways that cause us to do in relationships what's supposed to happen, what he wants to happen. All right. So before applying an essential oil for the first time, I suggest that you test it on a small area of your skin, especially if you're putting it on a sensitive area. Many oils can be applied undiluted, and we call that applying an oil neat, but everyone is different. So when in doubt, dilute with a carrier oil. Also, again, we're talking sensitive areas of the body, so be careful, but don't be anxious. They're not going to hurt you. Again, certain oils, especially spicy ones, and we're going to talk a little bit about that, but some of those may need varying amounts of dilution, not a ton, but if it's too spicy, just apply a little bit of a fatty oil like avocado oil or jojoba oil, coconut oil, and just put that directly to the skin and it'll cool it right off. Don't dilute it with water because that's not going to mix well. You want to always use a fatty oil, and don't use essential oils in your eyes, ears, or nose. So be really careful. And that's another reason if you're going to be playing with oils in the bedroom, make sure that you have a carrier oil nearby just in case you get it in your eyes, because that can happen if you have it on your hands and you rub your eyes or something. You may that will not feel good. Also, if you do get oils in your eye, really the best way to deal with that, especially if it starts to really sting, is to flush your eye with milk and then rinse it out with water. That's really the best way to do that. Again, lower quality oils may be adulterated and may even cause chemical burns or other injuries. So what we're talking about here are our pure Young Living oils. Okay. And one last word of caution for you ladies who possibly use condoms. Essential oils hate petrochemicals, probably almost as much as we do, and they don't mix. Okay, so they can break one. So there, I just said it. So it'll basically melt a condom as it should. So this sort of fun is for skin to skin. Okay. So aside from some of the oils that I'm going to show you in our recipe section, some people like to use these oils for getting started and to have on hand. Ylang-ylang, which is one of my favorites. It's a very romantic scent, and it is historically known as an aphrodisiac. Lady Scleriol is another favorite. That's a blend, and that actually is really helpful for when you're trying to get your hormones under control. I used it during menopause, and I know a lot of young women that use it as well, but that one's important to have. But it smells amazing, and my husband, it's one of his favorites, and there's reasons for that. It winds up again, you have these oils and you're using them, you're going to have a scent association that goes with it, and so then it becomes your favorite oil. It's interesting how that happens. Sensation is probably one of our most notorious, in a positive way, notorious romance oils. That's what everybody thinks of when they think of Valentine's Day or romance oil, or what are we going to use for, romantic night out. Sensation is what a lot of people go to, and that it also makes just a great perfume because it smells so amazing. And we put a lot of other oils there on the screen. You're welcome to go save those. All of these are super gentle and smell amazing. So they're great used in an all over or intimate massage oil. You can just blend it, mix it with your carrier. A few more recommendations are sandalwood, rose, neroli, and myrrh. Those are some of my favorites. Now, rose, of course, is one of the most expensive oils. Sandalwood has kind of a mysterious sensual aroma as well. So it blends really well with the body's own natural scent, which makes it perfect for this sort of thing. And also it lingers. It really lingers really well. And you're going to find that's kind of one of the fun things about this. Once you've used oils in the bedroom, your whole room is going to smell like that for a long time. It's an amazing reminder. And remember, just like anything worth achieving, practice makes perfect. The more you practice, the better you get at it. And while you're practicing, take the time to study each other's prompts and teach your husband to read your prompts too. Really try to be attuned to your husband and read his responses and help show him how to read yours as well. Talk about it and interact. Do you notice an increase in breathing or an excited response? Keep going. No response? Try something else. Experiment, get curious, and be sure to let him know what winds up working for you and what doesn't work for you. What do you like him to say? What do you like him to touch? What do you like him to do? All those things. He can't read your mind, so never, ever, ever, ever fake a response. That's the worst thing you can do, because then you're gonna be living with that for the rest of your life, because it's like, oh, why does he think I like that? Make sure you're honest. Another Song of Solomon verse. My beloved put his hand by the latch of the door, and my heart yearned for him. So I'm just going to leave that there for a second. So that yearning feeling is what we're after. So set out right from the beginning with a mutual decision to take your time. And both of you need to remember that men are created very differently than women. Sometimes women who seem to have cooled off in the bedroom just haven't been given enough time to get going. There hasn't been enough patience. That's why practicing the art of intimate touch using essential oils with your husband can be a powerful intimacy tool. And that's also why communicating that to your husband is really important. Let him know that. Let him know you take time. Let him know ahead of time. You know what? I need to just focus like on a full 30 minutes or a full whatever time amount you think you need, so that he has an idea, because he really doesn't. He's assuming you're just as ready as he is, and he needs to know how much time it's going to take. All right, so when we're young and carefree, things seem to come a lot more naturally. But what about later? I'm 58, so hitting menopause was a big game changer for me. Also, during pregnancy can be really hard. For one thing, you're exhausted, maybe morning sickness, you've got all kinds of things going on. Different people have different physical disabilities that can make things difficult. PMS, finances, stress, all those things can be really hard postpartum. But menopause is the thing that I'm probably the most familiar with, because that's kind of what I'm still in the middle of. Menopause is when the term hot and bothered changes its meaning completely, right? We're hot and bothered, all right, usually about 4 a.m, when all the things we didn't get done bothers us like crazy. But romance is not what we're usually hot about at that point. There are times when both men and women don't feel in the mood as often. They're just in different seasons of life. And it could be stress, it could be a lack of sleep, it could be, conflict or depression, all sorts of things. Whatever the reason, essential oils can help. But there are tons of oils that can help a couple to relax and focus and get their head back in the game of intimacy, while also stimulating the emotions and helping to promote that bonding we were talking about. Most of the oils that we recommend here can be used intimately. That means they can be applied directly. The Lady Scleriol blend is one of my favorites, and it can help also with occasional dryness. So that's a good one to blend with a carrier. It has a gentle warmth that can really help to stimulate the libido when applied or massaged directly. Yes, there, ladies, live a little. It's okay. So Lady Sclereol contains geranium, coriander, vetiver, orange, clary sage, bergamot, ylang-ylang, sandalwood, Spanish sage, jasmine, Idaho blue spruce, and spearmint. So it has some really amazing oils, and you can kind of see why that's going to be a good one. You can also apply a drop or two of clary sage or sensation, or again, Lady Sclereol, to the inner thighs, into the pubic bone before bed, and just kind of in preparation. One thing you'll probably notice, if there's certain oils that you use for intimacy, if you use them regularly that way, your husband's going to start to kind of get a clue. And when he smells that oil, he's going to know, oh. So that could be a way to prepare as well. And again, remember, everyone is different. Even if you like a little fire and ice down there, your husband may hate it. So, which would kind of defeat the purpose. So test them first and experiment very carefully together and talk about it. A lot of us get stuck in our heads during lovemaking. You know what I'm talking about? You start to get self-conscious about your body, or you know, whether you've put on some weight, or you're worried about your own responsiveness, what you sound like maybe, or what he's thinking, if the lights are low enough. All those things can affect us. But I want you to know, ladies, you are enough. But you need to get to a place where you can relax and believe that. So one thing you can do, try 2 drops of the blend Surrender on your temples and brainstem throughout the day. Maybe diffuse it too. Surrender contains lavender, lemon, black spruce, Roman chamomile, angelica, and mountain savory. And you also may have your head full of other things like kids or bills or conflict with a friend. But if you can manage, if you can relax and focus and pray through it, and I also, there's affirmations in my book, Truth Drops, where you can change those brain habits too. That can make a huge difference. But if you can manage to get your head back in the game and be present with your husband, intimacy can actually help relieve some of that stress. And it can actually help you even increase that confidence. A nice rush of happy hormones may be just exactly what you need. So learning to relax and focus on being present can really, really help. Remember, a lot, maybe even most, of how you view and enjoy sex has more to do with your brain than it does your body. Remember, your brain tells your body what to do. So relaxation, focus, releasing anxiety, getting into what you're doing, that is huge. The peace and calming, stress away, and our CBD Calm may really help too. If you're really daring, you actually might want to try the CBD muscle rub. I mean, super slick, and you may also have the power of the CBD in the oils, but it's also good and spicy. Don't say I didn't warn you, and that's another one you want to test out first. But rubbed just inside the thighs can be an extremely stimulating experience. Okay, let's talk a little bit about the art of building anticipation. And now we're not talking about catch-up this time. We're talking about the wow that's sometimes in the wait. So this is the opposite of lust because it's aimed right where it should be, right? Lust is all about building up a desire and obsession over something that you can't or shouldn't have, something that's actually bad for you or bad for someone else. Here we're talking about building up a desire and even an obsession, a burning for something that God has given a great big fat yes to. And it's all perfectly, beautifully, honorably mind-blowing. So relish every second of it. So here's a few ideas. How about handing him a note that says, "Oh, darn, I forgot to wear panties today." That can be kind of, that will get his attention. Make sure the note you hand him is scented with whatever oils you used last time, maybe, so that, again, that scent association happens, and you're getting you're triggering his memory. Hat tip to that limbic system. Shave your legs, do your hair, put on makeup if you wear it. Make an effort to look your very best and feel your very best. That's even more important. And again, remember to apply those oils to the inside of your thighs. That's a good one. You could also secretly slip a flirty love note or even a pair of panties into his coat pocket to where he'll find it later. Some of y'all have heard this story before. Years ago, maybe 25, when my husband was traveling a lot, I would, whenever he would leave, I would slip a pair of panties into his suitcase, like either into a shoe or into, some hidden area of his suitcase or whatever. And then he would find it and he would always laugh. Thought, I found it, I knew you could do that or whatever. The first time it shocked him, but he started to get to where he expected it. And I would usually spray it with my toxic perfume because that was what I did back then. It was about 25 years ago. He calls me and he sounds kind of nervous and he's like, did you put some panties in my suitcase? I'm like, oh, what had happened was it was like an old stretched out pair of my pregnancy Hanes Her Way panties with holes in them and everything else. It had gotten mixed in with the laundry, so it was mixed in with his clothes, and that was what went into his suitcase. So I'm sure he thought the honeymoon was over. So there's all kinds of things you can do. Pay attention to which oils you used last time y'all were intimate, and maybe the next a few days later, put those oils onto your hands and just brush past him and, rub it across his face and see if he recognizes the scent, especially if it's a special oil like rose or something that you don't use very often. He'll start associating that with intimacy, which can be really fun. There's certain oils that's the only time we use them. One thing I like to remind young moms or young wives, is to avoid referring to sexy talk with your husband as talking dirty, because that's not dirty. And I really think words matter. You can, use words like sexy or spicy or alluring or hot or whatever, but get your thesaurus out if you want to get creative and use different words, but don't say dirty because that makes it sound low and you don't want to associate that in your mind. Either of you. You don't want it in either of your minds to think of it as something unclean. Speak life, like Shanna said. I'm all about words and their meanings because they have power. So try to be deliberate and intentional with how you speak. Remember, your relationship with your husband is pure and good. We pick up words sometimes that we grew up hearing, but I think changing our language helps to change our attitudes towards sex. Sex is sacred and it's fun and it's exciting, but it's not dirty. Okay. All right. Here's our bedside oil giveaway. So that's the little bowl I'm going to give away. So with a bedside oil, a lot of times trying to use oils in the bedroom can be kind of messy, right? Because you've got a lid and you've got you're trying to put it in your hand or whatever. So it can be a really good idea to go ahead and put the oils that you want to use that night, just put a few drops right into the bowl. And that way, if you need to add a carrier oil, you can add the carrier oil to the bowl too. Now, I do suggest putting maybe a cloth napkin underneath it or something in case there's any, you don't want oil on your dresser that could ruin the finish. So you want to be really careful. Or you could put a tray underneath it, but have it handy right there. So all you're having to do, either of you is having to do, is dip your hand in the oil instead of trying to mess with a bottle, which can be frustrating. All right, so sensation, and this is the one that we're giving away. So that's fun. And I actually, again, I have 2 of these to give away. So that's going to be a lot of fun too. Young Living Sensation Blend combines ylang-ylang, bergamot, jasmine, and a few other oils that encourage feelings of love and affection. So again, this is one of my favorites. There's also a sensation. I really love the texture of that one. That actually is even a little bit different than, like, we have several lotions. There's Genesis lotion, there's lavender, but the texture seems different. My favorite texture is the sensation lotion. I'm not sure why it's different, because you would think that they would just put different oils in it, but it's not. Like we talked about earlier, this particular oil makes a good starter oil in the bedroom because it's perfectly blended to smell amazing. It has all the right oils in it. It doesn't need diluting, and it's blended and targeted for romance already. In fact, Young Living, again, has they also have a sensation massage oil in addition to the lotion we just talked about. there's a massage oil, and I think that there's a sensation body wash too, isn't there, Shanna? Pretty sure. Which I just discovered this because I have not had a tub. I've been without a tub for so many years. I can't even tell y'all. The tub that we had when we moved here in 2006 had jets, and I don't do jets. Jets freak me out. And so I just didn't use that tub. And then when we did the remodel, they talked me into just pulling the tub out and putting a shower, which I regretted. I have a lot of back issues. So then I got it. Y'all might have seen my post about my beautiful tub. I just love my tub. I'm so happy. But now I'm using all our bath stuff. I'm able to use all our bath bombs and everything, and I'm so excited. But I did the evening peace bath gel in the tub as a bubble bath, and it makes amazing bubbles and it smells amazing. It's like, oh my gosh, all this time I could have been telling people about this. I didn't think it would even lather up because it doesn't have, all of the, what do you call it? The, the stuff that makes most soaps thud. And so it doesn't have all that. And so I was surprised that it still made bubbles, and it did. So I was happy about that. So I don't know if the sensation one does or not, and if they have a sensation. If not, evening peace is amazing. Okay, before things get too wild, remember to take some time to get creative. We've talked about taking things slow so you can slowly rev up the engine with a little game time. So let's talk about a fun Name That Scent oil game. You can blindfold your partner and use a paintbrush or maybe one of our Savvy brushes. I mean, those were on sale for a while, so a lot of people are stocked up. And use it with your bedside oils that are mixed with a carrier, and write a word like on his stomach or wherever, and he has to guess what you've written. Okay, so that can be lots of fun because the oils are going to smell good, they're going to feel good. So you're notice how you're engaging all the sense and everything. I mean, all the senses and everything we're talking about. You've got sight, you've got smell, you've got taste in some cases. I have no idea where those balloons came from. Why does that do that? I'm not even touching my screen. Every once in a while, balloons come up. Our senses are a God-given gift. And so the more we can utilize those during lovemaking, that can really help with the bonding process too. And also just the whole experience, which is designed for our pleasure and for our relationship building. But anyway, do y'all get what I mean? You make yourself a carrier. You could use your old bedside oil. Put a little carrier oil in there, like jojoba oil or whatever. Put your oils in. Have a little paintbrush. Better to use like a natural bristle brush. So I don't know what those other brushes are made out of. And have a game, blindfold, and then you have to and write different words. You could write love, or you could write whatever, some secret word you have, and then he has to guess it. Oh, also make sure that there's no touching. You can tell him no touching. You have to guess the word. There's no touching until you guess. You could have a timer, and you could give him a certain number of guesses before the timer goes off. You could choose a reward, maybe. Afterwards, you could switch places, and then you have to guess. But by the time that this game is finished, the anticipation is probably going to be pretty high. So roll with it, right? So we're going to go on to some black pepper. So y'all are probably saying, black pepper? Why would we be using black pepper in the bedroom? That's weird, right? But some like it hot, and it's not just in the kitchen. So I hope I hope y'all have used black pepper in the kitchen before, because it works great in recipes. I put it in a lot of my Italian salad and different dips and things. It works great, but it's one of my favorites, and it's helpful for increasing concentration. It supports digestion, it supports the nervous system, and when used during massage, it can be very stimulating for circulation and blood flow. It's also over the top stimulating in intimacy. So some people enjoy the warmth of black pepper when it's used topically in intimate places. Yep, there we go again. Yes, you can apply it there. Yes, for females. Again, you want to make sure that you're both going to enjoy it, because eventually it's probably going to be on both of you, right? So it's a good one to test out, but it can be very stimulating. You may want to, again, test it out with some dilution first.
I can attest that black pepper is amazing, and it's not hot. It's not.
See there? See there? Look at that. It really is. You can also add a little bit of sensation to it and do it that way and use that as a lubricant. So you can make a lubricant in a little bottle. And that, by the way, these little bottles, it work great for that kind of thing because it's not too much. So if you want to switch out and use a different scent next time, you don't have this giant bottle of it. But these little bottles have the little glass tube things. And I'm going to give away another one of these. So that's cool. Okay, so hey, we turned up the heat, right? There may be one more. So now that everything's already heated up, let's start with something cool. Peppermint. So the intense cooling effect of peppermint essential oil is great for sore muscles and to keep you alert. It's also super soothing when applied to the temples and scalp during a headache. But y'all, you haven't lived until you've experienced a private, hot, steamy rub down behind closed doors. But do be very careful with this stuff. It's intense, and don't forget to dilute it. And be careful where you put it, especially men. So you do want to be careful with this one. This can be too much too fast. So you want to make sure this is diluted. And you can experiment with it. You'll be able to tell if it seems like it's a little too much, and then just dilute it some more. This is a fun edible massage oil recipe. Again, I'm gonna have a link to all these recipes at the end. So we're not going to put them all on the screen tonight because I don't think we'll have time. Also, if you have Young Living's vanilla mint stashed away, because I know we didn't get that this year, but also the peppermint butter, what was it called again? The one at Christmas this year? Candy cane. It was candy cane. Yeah, that if y'all got that, but that body butter, you can use that one. That works great too. But I really loved the vanilla mint. I'm hoping it comes back next year because I stashed up on it last year, but I'm almost out. If you have some to sell me, I'll take it. But it's great because it's an edible massage oil. So again, we're gonna go through this. I'm gonna share a link with you. But these can all be used in the bedside bowl and added to massage oils or to a roller bottle. That way they're super easy to use beside the bed. One is called Risky Business Love Button Blend, and it has black pepper, sandalwood, clary sage, patchouli, peppermint, and then of course a carrier oil. And then there's another one called Turn Up the Heat Blend, and that one's got sensation, black pepper, and bergamot. Okay, again, we talked about bonding, but memories are forged in both negative and positive ways. And this creates healthy and unhealthy roadmaps in our minds. So utilizing the limbic system, essential oils, and deliberate bonding exercises can help to create nourishing memories that speak life to your soul and forge a strong, intimate bond between you and your spouse. We really are fearfully and wonderfully made. I mean, the limbic system in the brain supports many of the brain functions that we take for granted, like adrenaline stimulation, behavior, motivation, our olfactory system, and then long-term memory. This intricate system, which also influences our autonomic nervous system, like our heartbeat, all the things that just happen automatically, breathing, digestion, all that, and the endocrine system, which is our sexual function and hormones and sleep and all that, all of it's a complex and powerful part of our overall creation. And all of it can be impacted by essential oils. So healthy bonding with those who God places closest to us is a huge part of what makes us whole. But there are actually physiological changes that take place in the brain during those times. And since essential oils pass through the blood-brain barrier, this could be huge in the quest to enhance healthy relationships. Now, essential oils may help with bonding, intimacy, relationship healing. If you're going through you're working through a relationship issue or you're in counseling, those kinds of things, oils can really help. It can help with hormones, it can help with libido, all these things. Essential oils in and of themselves don't heal relationships, okay? I'm not saying that. It's like the blend called forgiveness is not forgiveness in a bottle, right? It's there to help you relax and focus and get in the right mood to make the choice to do those things. But you have to make the deliberate choice and do the work to make it happen. Because of their relaxing nature and because of the way they work with the limbic system, and how that works in league with the emotions, they can be powerful tools. And so they are definitely worth exploring, especially when you're working through conflicts, again, past hurts or emotional and sexual healing or even exploration. So those are good. All right, Shannon, did you want to talk about Progessence Plus a little bit?
I sure do. Okay, so we actually just got a question about hormones. And ladies, this is where it's at. And I have used Progessence Plus for years. Amy is really the one to talk about this, but I'll just share what I know and what I've learned from her. So basically, you know, as we go through life, and Stacey already touched on the emotional side of things. But I think it's hard to put all the puzzle pieces together. I dropped a comment where I said that truth drops really changed things for me, not just in the area of the bedroom, but just in my overall healing and the understanding that it's all connected. And how does this relate to Progessence Plus? Well, what happens is, as women, we really internalize things. We tend to internalize, and we also have stressful situations in our life, whether it's relationships or kids and school and the whole thing, right? Our entire lives, especially these days, are go, 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 go. And our bodies are releasing cortisol. Well, as we get older, that cortisol builds in our system. But our body produces cortisol with progesterone. And so the cortisol builds and it stores some more. And then the body starts sending signals. Hey, we don't need you to make any more progesterone, because if you do, then we're going to have more cortisol, and that's going to be bad. We already have too much. So you get into a vicious cycle where then you have estrogen dominance. So that is where libido is killed. That is where we start entering into a space of perimenopause and menopause. And I have women message me daily. I'm getting into conversations almost daily of women in their late 20s and very early 30s already experiencing some of these symptoms. And I do believe it's directly related to our toxic environment and the fake fragrances. So I'm not here to give you
And
that
what
whole
we're
spiel.
eating as well.
Yeah, what we're eating, the hormone levels in our, industrialized meat and eggs. And so I'm not here to give you that whole spiel, though. That's another class. But I will tell you that when you put Progessence Plus on your body, and Amy probably has some other suggestions on how to use that, but I'll just suggest that you use 3 drops a day on your tummy, on your inner thighs, on the inside of your arms. And that is going to help combat that high estrogen level. And it's going to give you a higher progesterone level naturally, not with fake hormones, but it's going to cause your body to naturally produce higher progesterone, which is going to be very important in intimacy and for your libido to be where you want it to be and actually desire intimacy. It's also important for a lot of other functions of the body. It's going to be, my husband calls it my happy juice. He gets in trouble when he asks me if I've taken it today, but it really does make you happy. You may not want to tell your husband that, because then, if you're not happy that day, he's going to ask you if you had it. And so that might disrupt intimacy. But anyway, you really do want Progessence Plus. I think every woman on the planet needs this supplement. And it really is more of a supplement. We call it a serum. But it's incredible. And every essential oil in this serum supports the hormones, supports your body producing more progesterone, and your entire really endocrine system. Again, it's 3 drops on the inner. I do it on my inner arm, on my lower abdomen, on the inside of your upper thighs, and you can switch where you apply it ever so often because you don't want to always apply it to the same place. Um, if you know, in pregnancy, they'll often recommend that you do a progesterone cream, which is often wild yam, and that is what we have in Progestins Plus. So you can feel good about recommending it to really any woman, even teenagers, and pregnant ladies can also use this. I used this my last pregnancy, and it was incredibly helpful. So, yeah.
Yeah, and the thing is, it's like that's why our essential oils are so different than drugs. They're not drugs. And what the thing is, because they're made at creation by God for to help us, to serve us, they know what our body needs. So it's not that it's forcing our body to do something it doesn't want to do, like a drug would do. And that's why there's side effects and everything else. This is just working with our body to help our body do what it's supposed to do. Okay, so it's our body doing the work. The oils are just enhancing that and supporting that effort. So that's what makes it so cool. And that's why a woman in menopause can use Progestins Plus or in perimenopause, and it can be helpful. And a girl whose periods are irregular, it can be helpful to her. So it just, you know what I mean? It's like your body knows what it needs. And when the oils that God gave us work with it, it can be a game changer. Somebody's asking how many times a day. I usually tell people morning and evening. I don't know about you. If you're only going to use it once, I would use it in the evening.
If you want Progestins Plus to get in your system quickly, like for instance, if you're having a headache that you believe is cyclic, or if you're just having a headache and you want to figure out if it's hormonal, then I do it under my tongue.
Yes.
Or if you can't handle it under your tongue,
Only
it
because
doesn't bother me.
it smells
Doesn't bother
amazing. It
me.
doesn't taste amazing.
Yeah, it doesn't taste great, but it goes away in like 10 seconds. It's fine. It doesn't
And
bother
you can
me.
always
But
follow it up with a drop of peppermint or something.
yeah. But if you don't want to do it under your tongue, do it on your pulse points, like on your wrist or on your neck, because that gets it into your blood system quickly. But if you want it for just like every day, like continually being in your system, you want to put it somewhere where you have some fat so it slow releases. You can do your abdomen. You can also do your feet bottoms. That'll slow release it also. But as far as how much you use, I mean, most people start off with 2 or 3 drops in the morning, 2 or 3 drops in the afternoon. But it is very, very, very difficult to have too much progesterone. And Progestins Plus is a super low dose of progesterone combined with oils that help synergistically work with it. So it's very, very hard to make yourself have too high of a level of progesterone by using Progestins Plus. It harnesses the power of the oils to work synergistically with it. And also, it's a very low dose of the hormone.
Yeah.
So that's why I always say err on the side of using too much. But I mean, obviously, it's expensive if you're going to use half a bottle a day. But if you don't see any symptom relief or you don't see any positive effects from using 2 or 3 drops a day, then up it up to 5 or 6, and it's not going to hurt you at all.
Yeah. Yeah. Thanks, Amy. Yeah, I heard from somebody recently who was not seeing a whole lot of results using the Progestins Plus, and somebody recommended the under the tongue, and she was floored. She wrote
Yes.
back, she's like, "Oh my goodness, it was immediate." So
Yep.
that's what she needed.
A lot of people find that it helps them sleep at night if they put it under their tongue right before bed. It's
Yeah.
not going to make you, in my experience, it has not made me drowsy, but it does help you to like sleep deeper.
Yeah.
Because that's something that progesterone does in your body. It helps you get quality sleep. So
Okay, we're moving to Shutran now. So if you could only buy one oil for your husband, and Valentine's is coming, right? Pick this one, and you can thank us all later. This blend was specifically created for men by Gary Young. A lot of men and some women use Shutran even as a cologne. I mean, it smells really good, and it has a very distinct aroma. Nothing, no other blend we have is similar. It's very distinct. But it's not just a cologne. Yes, it smells amazing, but it's the powerful constituents in it that make magic happen. It was formulated for him to make her happy to see him, all of him, right? Those happy hormones working overtime. So I probably should get Amy to share. I like to hear her talk about Shutron because Doug loves this one, right?
Doug Doug overuses everything that he uses. I mean, you guys should see this this juice smoothie thing that he's making. It's ridiculous, and it makes him smell like onions, but that's another story. But anyway, he just goes crazy with everything that he uses. If you find something that gives him good, results, then he just goes crazy. But he used to go through a bottle of Shutran every month until I just was like, no, you have to stop. You don't need that much anyway. And then he'd be like, well, don't you have points? And I'd be like, I'm not using my points for a bottle of Shutran every month. But he's crazy. But anyway, Shutran, you guys, seriously, buy it for your husband and yourself. It's amazing. And you can also use it in the same way that I told you to use the sensation, just dilute it a little bit. Because I'm not kidding, it's not just for men. But it smells amazing. The beard oil smells amazing. Do they even still have the shower gel?
I don't know if they have the shower gel or not, actually.
See, Doug just puts the Shutran in the unscented shower gel. So I'm not sure if they still have the shower gel. But anyway, it smells amazing as a shower gel. So yeah, just get your husband Shutran. It's good stuff.
And again, it contains, as you can see. Oh, go ahead.
It kind of reminds me similar, not exactly, but it's similar to like the same family of smell as Valor, but it's kind of like Valor with like a manly. I mean, it's not. You could put. I think a woman. It's not like you would smell a woman and be like, "Oh, you smell like a man." It's just. It just smells good.
The guys all tend to really like the tree oils. Actually, when I was a teenager, I loved men's cologne. I didn't like to wear women's cologne very much. I liked men's cologne, and I think it's it's just those earthier scents.
I think you could totally doctor Shutran and put like a geranium or a joy or sensation in with it and make it into a really good women's cologne too.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, Shutran is great. If your husband has a beard, get the beard oil. You can use it in a pinch if you don't have your sensation massage oil. I'm not kidding about that stuff, girls. You all should have it.
Yeah.
Especially as you get older, because without being graphic, you just need it. And it's amazing. And if your husband is like acting like he's all ready and you're not, then just use that and you'll be good.
Yeah. Hey, have that bottle hold
like
it up
30 minutes.
You know what it takes.
Well, like 30 minutes before, just go in the bathroom and just, get you a little bit. You'll be good. Anyway.
All right. Okay. So, goldenrod. So the name says it all, right? Also known as lightning rod. I'm serious. We can't make this kind of thing up. It's just so funny that that's the name of it, and that's what it's good for. We included this essential oil in our lightning rod and again men's recipes that we're going to share here in just a minute. And it's best applied by hand, preferably your hand. And I doubt you'll get any arguments from him. So yeah, so this is a rock solid favorite. You're gonna like this one. It's distilled from the flowering tops of the plant, which blooms in the fall. And because of its popularity, Young Living has a hard time keeping this one in stock. So stock up when you can, and so that you don't run out in the spring, because that would be very sad. And remember that goldenrod is for him, which in turn is for you. And a little goes a long way. I don't actually love the smell of it, which is why we made some different blends to make it smell better and still get the benefits from it, because by itself, personally, I just don't like the aroma, and that's going to kind of defeat the purpose. So remember, you can use this on you or on him, but perfectly on.
Oh, I was just gonna tell them we're gonna drop those links, and then
Okay, yeah.
we're almost done. And then if you need to go, you can, but we will go ahead and share those recipe graphics. But I'm going to go ahead and drop that link right now. So we do have a reset right now with this Ninja Red, and another one is coming up if you didn't get in on this one. So we're starting February the 12th for another Ninja Red reset. And guys, that's a whole nother chat, but get in touch with the person who sent you here to get in on that, because it has been amazing. I'm personally doing it myself, and it has been incredible. But at the very baseline, 2 to 4 ounces of Ninja Red a day is going to keep you going. And especially for you busy mamas or those going through hormonal changes, times in life where things are stressful, this is where it's at. This is the nutritional support that your body needs. And it really is incredible the difference that it makes. Also, I did want to just let you know that all of these incredible oils and Ninja Red and all of our other wonderful supplements can actually be ordered as a customer. So you can become a customer of Young Living. And when you do that, you get 24% off on every order. And we have something called loyalty rewards. And that is how you get things for free. So you can earn points with your loyalty rewards account. So you get 24% off plus your points. And that allows you to get so many of these things for free. Also, there's just freebies in general when you place orders every single month of $100 or more. And there can be multiple things that you can get for free: oils, supplements. It's really, really incredible. I have personally been on loyalty rewards, Stacey, I think for like 9 years now. I have not paid for a Young Living order in over 9 years, guys. So all of our toxic-free cleaners, our toothpaste, our body wash, all of that comes from Young Living. And there's a lot of other perks that come along with ordering every single month. So this is the company that will literally pay you to order all the things that you need for your home. And right now in this economy, I can say that that is a huge, huge perk. So for those of you who already are in Young Living, congratulations, because you may have some of these oils on hand. And no pun intended there, but your husband may be waiting for you. So we're going to let you go, and just remember that practice makes perfect. So experiment with what we talked about tonight. We will have this recording up very soon, and get back with the person who sent you here and learn how to get into Young Living and get all of these wonderful oils and supplements for free to enhance not only your love life, but the rest of your life too. So thank you guys for joining us. It's been a lot of fun. And I pray blessings over your intimacy and your marriage. And I hope that you have a great evening. Bye-bye.
Yeah, y'all have an amazing evening. Thanks for joining us.